We have Sister Delilah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Delilah.
I'm here also with Alex. I'm Jasmine Al-Mahdi, and I'm here with Sarah. So recently there was this arrest from the police in Malaysia. They arrested 3 of our members from the Ahmadi religion of peace and light in Malaysia. And Alex, if you could tell us a little bit about what happened.
So we know basically a couple of days ago, one of the members of the religion, his house was raided, and he, along with 2 family members, was basically arrested. We know that basically this member of the religion, he's been given 6 months sentence, basically. So this is like an extremely bad violation of human rights and religious freedom that's happening in Malaysia, and we'll go into it in more detail. I guess, as we go along.
Yes, so Delilah, I wanted to ask you, as you are a part of the Malaysian community, you've been there in Malaysia, and you came here, and you have seen a lot, and you've witnessed a lot, and you know the background story of the Malaysian Ansar and what's happening, and how bad the government in Malaysia have been treating the Ansar over there. Now, this police arrest that recently happened was a terrible thing, because it's been like a series of things that has happened throughout time since back in 2023. And I wanted to see your view and how you feel, and what you feel about what just happened recently.
Members of the faith in Malaysia was arrested. It was kind of an injustice on his side, because he wasn't given a fair trial. He wasn't given a lawyer to defend him. So he was sentenced to and without any defense. Okay,
So they just went into his home and just grabbed him and arrested
they
him?
raided the house. They took some. They confiscated a few documents. Notes and books.
And they confiscated
Gold of the Wise, the manifesto, the Ahmadi's manifestos. So
and
that's how they found out that this
he's a believer.
A believer of our faith.
Yeah, so the goal of the wise is, as everyone knows, the gospel of the Qa'im, from Him is Peace, which we do have on our website, ahmadreligion.org. And the newest release of the recent book that Abu Sadiq from Him is Peace also wrote, which is the Mahdi's Manifesto. As you can see on the screen, the goal of the wise, and you can also see the QR code there, which you can be able to manage and access the website to download the book. And the recent book, as I mentioned, the Mahdi's Manifesto, was also confiscated, and it's a shorter book that is 30 pages, and it's also on the screen, which you can see there.
Yeah.
And this book talks about shortly about the mission of the Qa'im, right? And so this was confiscated from their homes, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And then what happened? So then they just went in, they just raided the house.
They raided the house and then took the families into detention.
And they didn't tell him anything? They just went and arrested him?
They were. It was a sudden move by the religious authorities. So
we've actually got a clip of this. If we go to video 1, of him being arrested, we can go to.
Yes, and there we have it, how he got taken. And we see it was an arrest under that they had actually not broken any laws at all, right? And it's really sad to see that something like that would happen. But since we know the situation with Malaysia and everything that's been going on, is this something that was expected?
Yeah, because Malaysia, we practice Sunni Islam. So any religion that divert from Sunni Islam is considered heretical. So,
and like basically the government, they had been, and the religious organisations, they had actually been encouraging like friends and family to report each other if they're following this religion, right? And this is how he got reported.
yeah,
So disgusting.
so by the near relative, okay? So it's quite shocking for somebody, so close to your family members, would do such a thing, a close kin.
Yeah.
So what happened really? Was it that the family member reported them?
Family members, by their own, I think by his own son and uncles and aunties, 3 members of from the families.
So this is really, really, if we look at it, this is so terrible because you're at your home, you're believing in a religion, and here you are just preaching inside your house, and your family member goes and can report you, and they are actually, just like you said, they are told to report, right? They are encouraged to report other family members, and so they did that.
It's so strange. Like it's a nation that says that they're following the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, right? And like they believe in the most merciful, the intensely merciful. They follow the most merciful Prophet, and then they will do that to one another and sell themselves out to the authority over someone's like their belief, over their belief, instead of sitting their family member down and talking with them. Like if you truly believe. For example, if you truly believe someone in your household is going to hellfire or they're on the wrong track, does this sound like a way to teach them to put them back on the right track? It doesn't, does it? No, it's insane. I think it's terrible.
It's just causing more harm. And we see that this, you mentioned that if you are a Sunni believer in Malaysia, you can't really change your religion, and they see this as a different religion, right? And then Islam.
Then Islam, definitely, because every tenets from our faith is totally contradict to the Sunni Muslim, to Sunni Islam's. So it's considered unacceptable, really unacceptable by the Sunni Muslim over in Malaysia.
Yeah, so I mean, despite kind of claiming that they have freedom of religion in Malaysia, like in the constitution, it's not really like that, right? Like they're kind of enforcing Sunni Islam.
Yeah, because in Malaysia, if you're born in a Sunni family, both your parents are Sunni, you're automatically considered as Muslim, Sunni. Sunni Muslim. So you have no choice, no freedom of religion.
But then yet they say that they follow freedom of religion, like it's in their law.
Yeah. And it's quite impossible for you to even try to convert to another religion. And I heard cases, where people try to convert to another religion, or they converted to another religion, and then they got in trouble with the authorities. And then some of the extreme fanatics, got to them. Some people even disappear until now. We don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, there's a lot of those stories. I've seen them myself in many articles concerning believers who were Sunni, or like they were born into a Sunni family, so they are in their ID mentioned as Sunni, right? And yet they
not Sunni Islam, just Islam. But in Malaysia, if you say Islam, you consider 100% Sunni Muslim.
Yes, because they don't accept people who are Shia. They ban them, right?
Yeah, it's considered illegal to even adhere to the Sunni, another sects other than Sunni Islam.
And you can't even. It's difficult to talk about Ahlul Bayt because obviously the difference between Sunni and Shia is that Shia believers, they believe in Ahlul Bayt, right?
Yeah.
So it would be hard to talk about Ahlul Bayt. It would be hard to hear in the mosque a different adhan, because the adhan, the call to the prayer is different for a Sunni than a Shia Muslim.
Yeah, different, totally different.
And that you can't hear that doesn't exist. You don't hear the Shia adhan.
We never thought in school about the 12 Imams. We never knew about Karbala. We never knew what happened to Fatima al-Zahra. So everything was hidden from us, you know. So when we found out, like for me, in my case, I came across it on the internet. So when I found out about Karbala, it was my first, you know, starting point for me to start to, you know, uncover all the lies, you know, told to me by the scholars, Malaysian scholars.
It must be shocking to hear that there is a different story to Islam than the one that you've learned, right? But people don't talk about it, and you weren't allowed to speak about it, or did you talk about it?
I had experience when I was 17 years old. It was quite. It was considered my first spiritual journey. I was caught reading the Bible in my dormitory by my seniors, and I was reported to the principal, the school principal.
Really?
Yeah, and
because
I was
just reading the Bible.
Yeah, I was public shamed. They announced it. The principal announced it in the assembly, public assembly, saying that there's a girl that contemplating of you know, converting to another religion.
Oh.
And were you just reading the Bible without even thinking about changing religion? Because they were now saying that you're contemplating on changing your religion.
Yeah, contemplating apostasy. Apostasy.
What were you doing? You were just reading the Bible?
I was just reading because I was curious about, you know, the Bible. I wanted to know more about God. And I wanted to know more about Jesus in a Christian perspective. You know?
They're so controlling that you can't even read like other religious texts. Yeah, they say they have freedom of religion in Malaysia.
And also, if you believe you're so much on the truth, why are you
so scared of other people?
This is what I
finding
felt.
Something else out.
It's such a fear. They have such a fear for people to learn and read about something else other than what they are teaching, and they want to control, right? They want to control and show that that's all you have to learn.
So it shows that their priority is more about control than actually your salvation.
Yeah, and actually, you know, what's happened in Malaysia since, you know, the Ahmadi religion of peace and light really like hit the headlines in April 2023 last year is like, there's been so many like public declarations basically by the religious minister, by these scholars basically saying like, don't go to their website, like they censor us online, basically, like telling people like don't read anything about the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. Like they're obviously very scared of people finding the truth.
And that's so scary because they are keeping you stuck on this path that you don't know, is it the truth, is it not? And if you feel like it's not the truth, you can't even search, you can't look.
They don't give you the right to even seek the truth, and that's the unfortunate part. Like that contradicts everything every prophet came with. You know, the Quran itself says there is in its one of its verses that there's no compulsion in religion. You can't force religion upon someone.
Yeah, so they're directly going against the Quran.
So they're already contradicting, let alone the prophet. They're contradicting the book that's between their hands. So, which it's fascinating because they don't. Whether they care or not, the point is that they've exposed themselves very well, and only the Mahdi can expose such darkness. You see. And just a book. They're so scared of the book, and why? It's not because it's just a book. It has in it information from the Mahdi, knowledge, such a divine. It's divine. It's the speech of God, you know, in that sense. And when it touches the people, they know it can change them. It
puts
can
fear in their heart.
Yeah, and it can awaken certain souls in Malaysia because they're an oppressed nation. They're oppressed people who are controlled by this tyrannical government, you know. And it's and they know it's this can really, like, you know, cause a revolution amongst them. So then that's the issue they have. So it makes sense that they're scared.
They even consider it as a national threat, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Why would they say that? If we're a you know, like a minority, and it's like, how can a small group of people or someone who's like just like reading a book in their home or believes in the humanity first be a threat to you?
For them, it seems like
weird,
it's a threat because as we're watching and we see a lot of Malaysian brothers and sisters actually entering this dawah and in large numbers. And, you know, it's so I think this is what makes them so scared because they don't want that. They want to preserve what they have and
control over their people.
And it's not just in Malaysia. This is how it is around the world. No one wants Imam al-Mahdi, unfortunately. They don't want him in their countries to control. Like, they think he's going to take over and control, but that's not how it works. They are scared that Imam al-Mahdi's words, the words of God, will enter the hearts of the people.
It's because, these corrupted religions that we have today, which are like in the mainstream, they're actually used as a tool to control the people, like to keep them like submissive towards the tyrants. Because we know that, the scholars, they call towards the tyrants and these corrupt governments. And, this is exactly what we see happening in Malaysia with this. This is just after like a long time, basically, over the last year of things getting like worse and worse in Malaysia, right? Hasn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so in 2017, they had mislabeled the followers of Ahmed al-Hassan, peace be upon him, and they said the Malaysian authorities had detained like certain people of this movement, and they called them al-Yamani Shias, right? So they thought that they were that this people from this religion were Shias, and of course Shia Islam, you can't be a Shia Muslim over there in Malaysia.
No, it's illegal.
Yes.
Shia's sex is considered illegal. We're not allowed to talk about, not just adhere to the sex, but to talk about the Shia movement, teachings, faith is all considered illegal, and we're so scared because we are being told that it's considered something is considered deviant. Considered deviant teaching. So we were advised not to to stay away from the sex. So,
And in 2022, when the Goal of the Wise was released, what happened?
what happened? I think we.
Meaning in the sense of when they found out about this book, it was even worse because in this book was different teachings.
Yeah, we had a lot of backlashes from the government, from the online media, from the social media. I mean, so a lot of media coverage on this on the book, on the teaching, on the members, the followers, and then our TikTok. We got censorship from the government. Okay, our TikTok accounts were put down, were closed down, and I think just recently the Divine Justice magazine was even banned from Malaysian to access the website. So the official website. Before this, it was the official website, but recently it was the magazine now. So
they're trying to shut all the doors so no one can read anything about the Ahmadi religion of peace and light at all. And we see the in the book, in the Goal of the Wise, we notice that the beliefs of us, our beliefs are different than the Islam that they believe in. Like we don't use hijab, it's not obligatory.
Even Shia Islam, our teachings are different to the mainstream Shia Islam.
Totally, contradicts.
We don't fast in Ramadan, right?
No fasting, and then we believe the Kaaba is in Petra.
Yeah, we believe that fasting is in December.
We believe that the calendar is incorrect.
Yes.
Yeah, and the fasting month is in December instead of have
so
to.
These things scared them, the Sharia.
So they basically labelled the religion as heretical and blasphemous, basically, and they've said, the religious minister, he said that it goes against Islamic teachings, like for these reasons, basically.
And these things with fasting and not praying, are you allowed to not fast and not pray in Malaysia, or how do they view that?
If you don't fast during the Ramadan, you get fined. You get fined definitely. They will employ officers, to check on you. Whoever is not fasting, then you get fined.
Wow, that's crazy. Like considering what you were saying earlier, the Quran says there's no compulsion in religion. So how can they actually enforce legally these practices?
Because their judgment day is between them and their Lord, what are you? It's strange that you have to have a police enforcing.
Yeah, what they're presenting is a completely contradictory version of the religion.
Yeah, that's right.
And how would you be able to not fast and not pray when this is our belief? We believe that you don't have to fast in the month of their Ramadan, and we don't pray the way they pray.
We believe fasting is is a core principle in our faith, but it's not the way they presented it. You see, our tenets are how God established them for our time through the Mahdi. But for them, they've like deemed it heretical and blasphemous, because it's like, no, this is a deviant sect. It's chaotic. It's the uncivilized, indisciplined. In fact, it's not. It's the opposite. It's those things were placed for discipline, and we have them. It's just not in the way the scholars have taught those people, unfortunately. You see, and they just can't handle it. They can't handle it. Why? It's not about the fasting or the prayer. It's the fact that their scholar said something and our Mahdi has said something, and they don't like what our Mahdi said, because what our Mahdi said is from God. Their scholars are not pointed, and they know that. The authorities up there know that.
So they're really stopping people from believing, from practicing our religion, because you can't. You're forced to not practice. You're forced to do things you know is not a part of the religion.
Yeah, there's no freedom of religion in Malaysia. You stick to Sunni Islam for until the day you die. That's basically it. Yeah.
That's not religion, is it?
No, it's not. I want to thank you, Delilah, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we've got a lot of insight now on how it works in Malaysia and how it looks like. And it's such a terrible story and a terrible way of living. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back again after this short break. Thank you.
Report on the persecution of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light in Malaysia. Date, October 24th, 2024. In recent days, a series of incidents involving the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, AROPL, has drawn significant attention in Malaysia. This religious movement, already declared deviant by local authorities, continues to face heightened persecution and legal action. As of October 24th, 2024, Malaysian media has published several articles criticizing the AROPL, centering on the arrest of Zulkifli bin Abd Ghani, a 60-year-old retired firefighter. Ghani was sentenced to 6 months in prison and fined 4,500 ringgit by the Sharia High Court in Negeri Sembilan for promoting false doctrines. The charges stemmed from an October 12th religious gathering, during which he allegedly spread teachings associated with the AROPL. These include proclaiming Abdullah Hashem as the second Mahdi and accusing that the Quran has been corrupted. Despite Ghani's plea for leniency, the court imposed consecutive sentences, underscoring the severity of the charges. The AROPL has condemned the verdict as a violation of religious freedom, asserting that it is part of a broader pattern of persecution against its followers in Malaysia. Raids and family detentions. On October 22, 2024, officers from the Department of Islamic Religious Affairs and local police conducted a raid on a family home in Seremban, Negeri Sembilan, after receiving complaints about the family's involvement with AROPL. The husband, wife, and daughter were detained, with the wife being arrested at a later time. The family had converted to AROPL earlier in the year, which led to tensions with their relatives and ultimately the formal complaint. Authorities seized documents, including copies of the Mahdi Manifesto. The arrests were carried out under Section 52 of the Syariah Criminal Enactment, Negeri Sembilan, 1992, on grounds of wrong acts and deviant teachings. The raid followed a 5-month investigation into the family's involvement with the AROPL. The AROPL community and international human rights organizations have expressed outrage at the ongoing persecution. This incident is part of a larger pattern, with NGOs like Amnesty International and the United Nations previously condemning the Malaysian government's treatment of AROPL members. The AROPL continues to face severe repression, with international bodies calling for greater protections of religious freedom. However, the Malaysian government maintains its stance, reinforcing state-sponsored narratives that limit religious diversity.
breaking news. In a
Assalamu
developing
alaikum
story from
warahmatullahi
Malaysia,
wabarakatuh. Welcome back to The Disturbing Truth. So we just had Delilah al-Mahdi with us here on set, and we were talking about what just happened in Malaysia recently in the 23rd of October, where there were a few believers who were arrested for just preaching their religion, preaching the religion of Ahmadi, religion of peace and light, in their homes and their family members.
And they're being peaceful, not like they were rioting or like, you know, hurting people or sending death threats to the government. They weren't doing anything.
It was within their home.
Then they just had like some copies of the religious texts in their home. They literally did absolutely nothing apart from be members of a religion that isn't Sunni Islam.
No, it's insane. It's so insane.
It is really. And so they got arrested, and we got to hear a bit from Delilah about what's going on and what has happened and what the rulings are in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And we found out that you can't really believe in anything else other than Sunni Islam if you were born into a Sunni family.
That's so insane. Like, imagine like you're in like the 21st century, like 2024, and then you have a government or a country, a nation that is trying to come across, like, you know, people go there, it's a tourist attraction as well, you know, people go there for holidays, and they like to come across like they're very peaceful people. And
it's not something you actually associate with Malaysia, you know, having this like sort of draconian like policies on religion, because it doesn't come across like this kind of country, but really actually when you look into it, it's very restricted.
No, it's insane. Like, as she was describing it, and I'm looking at it, and then we hear like it's Malaysia. I thought like she sounded like she was talking about Saudi Arabia or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Because people, Malaysia is a place where, especially Kuala Lumpur, is a place where people actually go and visit from around the world. It's a summer vacation place. You know?
Exactly. So I find that really strange. Like, that they'll do that to their own citizens, you know, like they open their doors to, like, you know, people to come and do many business transactions there. Many organizations have parties there, you know, many, like they do many things that you wouldn't imagine maybe someone who's so into Islam would do. But with their own citizens, they oppress them in that manner. It's insanity.
And it's this fear that they have that we were commenting on, the fear of like losing control over their citizens. They don't want that. And the members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light have been prosecuted and harassed since 2023. Because what happened then, if we give a little bit of an insight, was in April 2023, there was a march where our believers in Malaysia went out and they were peacefully speaking about the religion. They were carrying a banner with the face of Abba Saleh from his peace, the Qa'im, and the flag and our flag, right? And they were just saying that Imam Mahdi is here.
Yeah.
And
peacefully just saying that the Savior is here.
Yeah. And at that point, they were told to stop. You know, they were told, the police came. They were told to stop and disperse, but yet the police changed their mind and they took them and they detained them. And this was the start of it. This was after, like, not many months after the book was released, The Goal of the Wise.
Yeah.
And this is a reaction from, you know, like, you know, Muslims, they claim to be waiting for the Mahdi. They claim to be waiting, like, for the Savior, basically. And it just shows their reaction, like, to hear that, like, people are declaring that he's appeared, like he's here, just to immediately arrest those people.
Yeah, that's the
It really shows that these, you know, religious authorities within Malaysia are 100% not waiting for the Mahdi.
Yeah, and it actually just proves the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt and the what Jesus said and everything about the end times, that these authority figures that you perceive as authority figures, such as the scholars, such as the tyrants ruling, they are not going to be the ones telling you Imam Mahdi is here. They in fact, it's the opposite. They would wanna make sure that call is buried.
Exactly. As the narration state, you know, they are the enemies of the Mahdi and they are the most evil creation under the sky. Basically.
And they're proving themselves just by like imagine you're just standing there saying Imam Mahdi is here. So instead of going up to following the Quran that you claim, where that even if an evildoer comes to you with news, you're meant to investigate it. But for them, investigation is like, yeah, I'm going to just throw him back of a police car and just throw him in jail.
And then call is even and label this as a security threat. You know, to not just. It's interesting because if this goes out on social media and people are aware of it, of this incident, of them marching and then them being arrested and then it being called a security threat, this will make people scared,
Yeah.
right? Of even looking at it and looking into what is this.
Yeah.
So they would assume that this is something bad, something negative. We cannot associate ourselves with these people because then we are viewed as a security threat, and we are viewed as something dangerous and something that we don't want to be associated with, right? And what's the danger that someone is claiming that they have found Imam Mahdi? Where is the danger in that?
Yeah.
You know?
And it seems, the believers in Malaysia, they've been constantly criminalized for basically either just being a believer in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, or very peacefully declaring that they're a believer in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. So we've had this kind of like ongoing kind of escalation, basically, where they're becoming like more and more censored, more and more persecuted by the religious authorities, and especially by the religious minister. And actually there's been like a series of governmental and non-governmental organizations persecuting them, making statements against them, warning people against the religion, encouraging people to report their friends and family if they're members of the religion. And this has actually led to a huge escalation of threats and like persecution from the general public, basically. And actually the members of the religion, they received many online death threats, saying like quite disturbing things because of this. So they've really just encouraged
I don't think we
it.
can emphasize enough, like, to the people of Malaysia specifically, and people around the world, that when you have like authority figures who are meant to like be established, if they claim that they're established upon a truth or form of truth towards the people, and that they're meant to be the security of the people, right? They're meant to be the people's safety, because at the end they're meant to be the guardians of the people, because that's the position they've claimed. God didn't put them there. They've claimed that position, so they have to so naturally people would assume that they would play the part of that that guardianship. But what kind of guardian would be so scared, like frightened to its core, shaking over a very small group of people who believe in a belief system that, if, again, we said it before, we're going to say it again, that if you are on the truth, this should not shake anything in you. If you're on the truth, if your foundation, if your nation, if the Malaysian nation is built upon a system or a foundation that is concrete, right? If it was built on a system that is concrete, then
they wouldn't fear anyone.
Yeah, but then okay, no matter what Mahdi comes up, you're already on the truth, right?
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter.
We wouldn't stop people from reading and researching.
They can easily have told the people, let them speak, let it continue, it'll die out or something like this. But no, they're censoring every single, as Sister Delilah says, they're censoring the TikTok, they're censoring the magazine, they're censoring websites, they're censoring videos, links, anything to do it. To the point they're censoring the believers. That's how insane it's become. They're censoring peaceful believers who are not doing anything wrong in the country. They're respecting their home countries because the countries, it's their home. They're placed in it. So they just want to have this connection they have with God within their homes. They're not doing anything about it. Nothing against. They haven't done anything. And yet you're so threatened by this because they just arrested one man, right? And like they're threatened by his presence, his very presence, just because he claims to believe in the supremacy of God.
Yeah, exactly. They're so scared of the supremacy of God. And this man who's been arrested and been given a 6-month prison sentence, he was 60 years old and retired.
Yes.
What's a 60-year-old man? How is a 60-year-old man a security threat? What's he going to do?
Yeah.
Like it's full on insanity. It goes to show it's like only someone or a system or a person is losing their mind for them to just like go into a room and just start going at it, like grabbing anything they can, and being fanatic and just going when you just turn a bit mad. Why? Because something it's like an animal before it goes to the slaughterhouse, it starts kicking and screaming because it knows his end is coming. And this is referring to Iblis, because Iblis knows this is the day of reckoning for him. He knows his time is near. So naturally the system that he's built, it's shaking. It's shaking because now the light is coming, even if that light is coming through a 60-year-old man. And that's the proof. Any Malaysian who hears of this arrest or sees or looks within the religion or hears about the religion, they would know that, wow, why is it scaring the police and the scholars so much? I have to know. Like it's like an obligation for you, just as a decent human being, to want to know what is shaking my country so much.
And their actions are actually so the opposite of the actions of Abu Salih from his peace. If you look at it, Abu Salih from his peace, he actually encourage people to look into
and investigate,
to research and investigate and come to their own conclusions and like have this certainty within their own heart, basically, of what they're following. Whereas these people, they're saying like, don't investigate, don't look up anything apart from what we prescribe for you, like only believe what we tell you to believe, and you're not actually allowed to research. Like Delilah said, she was reading a Bible. She wasn't even converting to Christianity. She was literally just reading a Bible, and she was like declared publicly an apostate. So they're like for sure like restricting everything, and this was not
And
how
this is
the
difference that you mentioned. You said if you're upon the truth, you shouldn't be scared of anything, and that's what Abu Salih from his peace is. He's not scared because he knows he has the truth with him, and he knows that when he's sharing it, he tells everyone, go investigate, go figure out, go read and see, are you going to find something who has God, or did you just find his call, and that's the only call that has God with him, with it, right? And so this is what the Malaysian community, the Malaysian believers in Malaysia were trying to do. They were just trying to peacefully call out to the people and say, hey, we found Imam Mahdi. And there was another incident, actually. So after this incident where they marched, there was an incident in July 2023 where they were only like just distributing flyers, right? Pamphlets in one of the mosques. And again here, they got arrested. And they were taken by police, detained and questioned, and by the Federal Territories, by the Federal Territories Islamic Religious Department, JAWI.
Yeah.
And this was like the next step of something that happened. It just continued, and it continued. Persecution just continued. In July 2023, another arrest happened where there were some believers who they were marching and they saw injustice. Yeah. They saw injustice in the lands, and they just as our religion teaches humanity, they felt like they had the obligation to go out and speak against what the government was doing. And what was it? Now, it wasn't even about the religion. Now it's just these believers seeing that the LGBTQ plus community are being treated in a wrong.
With this Sharia courts, basically capital punishment being used against members of the LGBT community. So obviously, like the true like religion teaches humanity first, like humanity before religion, and that only God can judge. So basically, some members of the religion protested about this, and they were arrested. And this actually really put the religion really in the headlines in Malaysia and actually all over the world because of this. March. And it was really since this protest, this kind of demonstration, basically, which really brought the religion into the forefront, of Malaysia, and really this triggered all of these reactions, basically. So the religious minister, after this, declaring the religion as heretical and blasphemous and against Islamic teachings, and then after this, we had like the censorship happening, and lots of other religious organizations, non-governmental organizations within Malaysia. Synchronizing their statements basically and saying that this religion is heretical and warning people against it.
And we even have the police, the Kuala Lumpur's chief of police going out and speaking on the media press and making a statement. So that was one. And then we had, like you said, a minister in the Malaysian Prime Minister's office in religious affairs who issued a press statement on his Facebook, and there he stated, what did he state? He was advising Muslims to stay away from teachings that conflict with Islam. That's where it's like now it was out there. It was on Facebook. It was by this minister, right, who was speaking and stating this. And then on top of it, there was a mufti from he has authority in religious like
school. One of the scholars.
Yes. And he went on a news article and he condemned the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, and he labeled it as apostasy and demanded strict action against its spread. Now, they were telling people this cannot spread, and that's when all that happened, where everything started getting blocked, right?
Yeah, and this is really when the members of the religion became extremely unsafe in Malaysia. Like they started getting death threats, basically. That obviously their family members were told to report them. So it's like not safe to even admit to your friends and family that you're a believer in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light in Malaysia. And literally, what have these people done? Nothing. Like they've literally done nothing. Like they have committed 0 crimes.
Yeah, and you see the actions that were made. It wasn't. There's no crime in there.
You can't, you know, like they don't make sense to be put in front of a court of law, you know, of that country even, because they didn't. There's no criminal offence.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I find fascinating is that actually, peace be upon the people of Malaysia. Like truly, those who actually can now see that their government is just there to suffocate the life out of them. Because that's all it is. It's just suffocation. It's not a life. There is what are they living under? It's just a tyrant, tyranny. It's just pure tyranny. This is like a definition of tyranny, and that they actually do know. You know, they know that their system, it's not working. It's not working at all. That's why we have a lot of believers like who are pledging allegiance for Malaysia. You know, that's why peace be upon each and every one of them. They are awakening towards the truth. They know that that where they are is a very dark. It's like a dark world, and when as soon as Abu Sadiq from whom is peace is now out there calling towards the supremacy of God, as soon as they heard it, they were like, this is the truth, because as soon as they saw his light, they could clearly see the darkness that they were in. And that's why it's not going to be like for long, so the authorities can keep doing what they're doing, is our point, because nothing can stop the Mahdi's rise, and they're only paving the way for him.
Yeah, it's true. And we see how the things escalated from being something that was made outside and the police were stopping them, to the point that it reached to in the homes. You cannot do anything, you cannot believe. And yet there are these strong believers in Malaysia that do not fear the tyrannical government, and they're like they're wanting to spread the light. They were wanting to spread this religion, and yet they are just doing it with their homes. They want to do it with their families and spread it with their families, and they have this fire inside of them. And so it's true, peace be upon them for having this faith, this fearless stance, where they go out there and they are trying to do what they know is the right thing. Right?
Exactly.
And the truth, because what is it that the call of Abba Salah from his peace is a call that does awaken the person and makes you wanna scream and shout that, hey, I have Imam Mahdi here with us. He's come, the one you've been waiting for so many years, the one who's supposed to bring the justice here, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And he's here finally.
And you know, the religion that's happening in Malaysia, the Sunni Islam, that the scholars are enforcing people illegally enforcing, basically.
Yeah, that's the key word, right? Illegally enforcing
international laws in order to enforce this religion. You know, this is, you know, the reason people are waking up when they see Abu Sadiq from whom is peace, and when they see the truth, is because, you know, it's just a crust basically of the true religion. It doesn't have the supremacy of God. It's contradicting all of the teachings. You know, it's contradicting humanity first, which is what all the prophets and messengers came with. It's contradicting the fact that there's no compulsion in religion, and you cannot force people to follow your religion. So I mean, the religion, it just really doesn't make sense. And for sure, you know, these people are not having a connection with God, because there is no connection with God in this basically satanic version of the true religion,
because it's so baseless. Like it's like the name of the religion, but there's no soul.
Exactly, you know? It's like there's nothing will remain of Islam except its name in the end times, like the narration state.
Exactly.
And this is like a very clear example of this. It's like Islam only in name. Like there's no submission to God. You're submitting to like the scholars and the tyrants who are not appointed by God.
Since Abu Sadiq came out and started talking about and calling towards the people, towards the supremacy of God, and presenting his knowledge, and you know, taking away the masks of these wolves, you know, like the scholars, the tyrants. It's just all, and they're really proving themselves. Like they're bringing these prophecies to life. Like with their own hands. As you just said, like nothing of Islam shall remain. The scholars will fight the Mahdi. The authorities will fight the Mahdi. Nobody will. His banner will be cursed from the east to the west. His companions will be the ones who, like, you know, people that they wouldn't even imagine would be the companions of the Mahdi. It's insane. It's just all come to life.
And so with all of these things that are happening, we see this is only in Malaysia right now. All of the actions that were happening since 2023, since 2022, this is only in Malaysia. And imagine all the things that are happening in all these other countries around the world where we have believers that are also being prosecuted. And so we see that the religion of the Mahdi, or the religion of God, will always be prosecuted, right? And people will always be against it. And we're witnessing it here right now.
Definitely.
And we are hoping that the people will awaken and that our brothers and sisters will be living in peace and will be able to practice their religion freely. And inshallah, in the next episode, we'll continue with other disturbing truth. And I want to say thank you for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.